What's going on, Restoration Dominators? Rico Garcia here. Got a really exciting episode for you today. We are going to be having some fun on this particular episode. We're going to be talking about how you can go ahead and up your game and get to that next level. But before we dive into the episode, real quick, I just want to give a quick shout out to our sponsors, starting with CNR Magazine, which again, if you haven't gotten your subscription of CNR Magazine, make sure that you just head on over to cnrmagazine.com. Upper right-hand corner, there's a big red button that says subscribe. Go ahead and smash that button, put in your info, and boom, you would be officially subscribed to CNR Magazine. And this way you can go ahead and keep your finger in the pulse of what's happening inside of our industry. Don't miss out on anything that's happening. CNR Magazine, go ahead and check them out. Also want to go ahead and remind you real quick that we have our hotline ready and available for each and every single one of you listeners. Pick up the phone, give us a call, 678-TALK, then the number 2, us. So 678 talk to us. And we want to hear from you. We want to hear your comments. We want to hear what you're getting from the podcast, who some of your favorite guests may be, some of your biggest takeaways, some show suggestions would be amazing from you as well. And what we'll do is we'll go ahead and we'll pull that and play it back on some of our future episodes. Also want to give a big shout out to our platinum sponsors, starting with Carlos Machine, the claims machine from Policyholder Advocates. Every single month, we have a special episode that drops just for Carlos Machine in our public adjusting corner. So big shout out. If you haven't caught any of those episodes, make sure that you go back, check out the public adjusting corner with our very own Carlos Machine, the claims machine. Also want to give a big shout out to our legal corner, which is Lawyer Britt. And again, every single month, we have her join us in the legal corner, talk about everything that's changing within the industry, tons and tons of great information about how you as a contractor can be protected with all of these new changes that are happening, what seems like almost every single day. And also, this would be a great opportunity for you to go ahead and pick up the phone and shoot us a call at that 678 Talk to Us number. In case you have any questions for either the legal corner or the public adjusting corner, we'd love to hear from you. So without further ado, today's episode is really exciting. We are joined by the one and only Jeremy Reets, twice on the show already. If you missed the first time that we had Jeremy Reets on, make sure that you go back into the show directory and check out that episode. It was absolutely amazing. And that way we can get a little bit more background on Jeremy Reets and all the good things that he's got going on. This particular episode, what we're going to be concentrating on is the importance of really upping your game, and also the next level event, which is going to be coming up very, very soon, which I'm definitely going to be attending. If you guys haven't heard of it yet, or if you're on the fence about whether or not this might be an event that you want to go to, I would certainly make sure that you listen to this podcast from beginning to end, because it's really going to be really insightful and extremely helpful. So without further ado, let's jump into the show.
Welcome to the Restoration Domination Podcast, where you learn actionable advice that moves the needle and helps service-based businesses dominate. Here's your host, Rico Garcia Jr.
All right, so we are live with a blast from the past, episode 35, the one and only Jeremy Reets. Jeremy, welcome back to the show. Are you ready to help us dominate?
I am, and thank you very much for having me back, Rico.
Yeah, man. Last time it was a blast. We had a great conversation. So many topics that were covered. Today, I wanted to bring you on because very, very soon, there's an exciting event that you're going to be putting on that we want to go ahead and talk about. Because again, learning and expanding and, having thoughts percolate in a room with high octave entrepreneurs, to me, is probably one of the best scenarios to be in, right? And you do a very good job of putting together this, this type of an event. So I wanted to go ahead and dive a little bit deeper into that. But before we do, for the few people out there that maybe are not familiar with the name Jeremy Reets or Reets Drying Academy, do us a quick favor. Can you just fill in some of the gaps in the intro, let people know exactly who you are and what you do?
Yeah, so I do water damage restoration. So we have a restoration company. My parents started it in 1970. My brothers and I run it today. So we're in the business, but probably what people know me more for is for Reets Drying Academy. So we're the largest and most highly rated water damage training company in the world. Check our Google reviews. You'll see that that's the case. And what we do is we teach people how to do the right job and get paid for it. And that's why we have so many people that come through our classes.
Doing the right job and getting paid for it. Like that's the key, right? Like who doesn't want to do
It's
that?
just that
Get paid
simple,
for
man.
what you do.
Yeah.
Right. But our industry has a tendency to overcomplicate things, right? I mean, we were kind of talking a little bit about that off camera about like, do we, action isn't always what's going to get you paid. That's just busy work. It's like, do you know exactly what it is that you need to do and how you're actually going to get paid for that one thing that you're doing? So that's like a missing element. And for those listening or watching the show, if you haven't checked out Jeremy Reets' episode that he did with us previously, make sure that you check that out. That's going to be episode number 35. As a matter of fact, we will link it in the video description as well as in the show notes. Make sure that you check that out because it was a fire episode as well. But diving right into it, let's talk about this next level event. What is it and what is it all about?
So we have put this event on for a few years. Really, the concept behind Next Level is actions that will get you to whatever your next level is. And we've done a variety of different, covered a variety of different subjects, but it's always focused around how to take the business that you've got and make it more profitable. In this one, I think one of the things that will really be the focus is, well, it's just what we said. There's two principles. One of them is how to do the right job and get paid for it. Because we are in a fairly new industry, there are a number of subjects where we just don't know as an industry. There's a lot of misinformation out there about what we should do. So we're going to bring forward standards and regulations and show you what the right job is in some of these hot button topics. And that's going to be helpful because it makes sure you do the right job, but then we're going to take it one step farther and show you how to get paid for it. That's what we do every day. And that's what we'll do at Next Level. Now, Next Level is a little different. It's not just a sit down in our classroom. We're actually doing this at a hotel. So we have a larger group. It's designed to bring your decision-making team with you, because as we present these things, after we present it, we're going to give you time to then, and worksheets to then figure out how does this exactly apply to us? How could we make application of it in our business so it makes a difference? Because Rico, I'm sure you've been to programs, I have too, where at the end it's like, well, that was interesting, but it hasn't moved the needle for me. It hasn't done anything for me. So we want to make that change.
It was like, that was cool
right on
to kind of hang out.
Yeah,
it was cool
fun,
to hang out,
which
and
is
that's
great.
about it, right?
Yeah, I mean, however, I can get entertainment in I can go to a movie right here in town if I want to be entertained. I need something that's valuable, and that's what we work to make Next Level do. In fact, we don't have a manual; we have a workbook, and it's a 40-page workbook. And right on the front, it says actions, not ideas. And that's what we're doing is we're giving you the documents, the tools to take what you're hearing and learning. Some of it brand new to you, but some are not necessarily brand new thoughts, but they're things that we need to put into action. We're going to give you the forum to do that.
Right, which is a beautiful thing. And one of the things that I've enjoyed, especially, last time that we spoke, we really drove this point home, was taking actions on certain things, right? In other words, the laborious aspect of what it is that we do day to day. There's a lot of training material out there talking about that, right? Like how to drive structure a little bit more effectively. But what really ties everything together, it's like, how does this action that you're talking about actually lead to profitability? How does that tie into money? How does that tie into, better margins, things of that nature, right? And that's something that you've kind of married that in a very unique way. So not only do you kind of geek out on, the drawing aspect of things and the technical aspect of the nature of our business and making sure that we're doing it right based on standards, but most people just kind of stay there. If that's kind of how their brain ticks, they're like, yeah, you know what? We're just all about doing the job right. But then they totally forget that in order to do the job right and do that consistently over the course of several years, you have to be profitable at doing that. And tying in the money is such an important factor because at the end of the day, it is a business.
Rico, there's two types of businesses. There's businesses that are for profit and there are businesses that are not for profit. That's because a business has one purpose, and that's to generate profit. There's a variety of different ways you can go about that. But profit is the lifeblood of a business. You may have other things you want to do through your business, helping others. But if there's no money, you don't get to do any of those things. priority number one is keeping that blood pumping through the company, keeping the profits flowing through that company, or else you're going to close the business down. Number one, number two, number three, number four, and number five reasons why businesses close. Nope, not enough profit.
Not enough profit. And I think this is a good opportunity here. So I had asked you previously, like what are the, top three reasons or top three things that you wish that most business owners knew, right? And if they wanted to be successful. And one of the things that you had mentioned is, what am I and my company doing that I must stop doing now? And that's like one of those things that like most people don't even address. But people are trying to add on more stuff. No one really asks the question, like, what do I need to stop doing now to increase my profitability, increase how effective I am? So can you expand a little bit on that?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a variety of different ways that you can look at that, but simplification is a key to profitability. So you can take this principle, which is one of the two principles that we will discuss in Next Level, and take it to the bank. If something is more complicated and harder to do, it's going to be less profitable. And if it's less profitable and harder to do, why are you doing it, right? So I take everything, we provide a variety of different services, and I look at it and I go, essentially, I have all these part-time jobs. Now, some of those part-time jobs I don't like. I don't like that type of service. It's something that we do. I also often make less money doing it than I do in some of these others. So why? Pick the things that you are really good at, that you really excel at, that you make the most money at, do more of that, and get rid of some of this other stuff, because frankly, you only have so much time. But sometimes it's hard. Sometimes out of nostalgia, we keep some of these services that we've been doing because we think we have to. And it's like, no, you don't. Get rid of it. If it's not making you money, get rid of it. And anything that takes your time, that's not a good investment of your time, stop doing that first and then reinvest that time into what's most valuable. It's simple. We all know that, but stop and do it. Well, none of us. It's like cleaning out the closet. Get rid of that stuff. You don't need it.
Right. Hopefully my wife doesn't pull this particular piece of the podcast out, because she's been wanting me to clean out my closet for like the past 8 years. And I just got stuff from 30 years ago that I'm still holding on to. But something that's interesting though about this entire thing is and again, there's levels to everything, right? Well, it's like, okay, great. Well, then stop doing what isn't working. But then there's a lot of times that business owners will be like, well, you know what? I'm really not making money on this front end offer, but we're getting quite a few clients on that front end offer. So we stay nice and busy, but really I don't enjoy doing it. And it's not really my profit center. But then they kill that. Problem with that, with just making that, almost emotional decision and not being driven by proper data, is, well, was that profitable on the back end? Was this an offer that you had up there, whether that's carpet cleaning or whatever that may be for you in your industry? Was that an offer that maybe it was a loss leader, but because I'm nurturing this customer so well, because I'm doing everything on the back end so well, and I have a system, which is important in business to have these systems, and a system in which that you're tracking that profitability. Well, is that really what I think is my biggest loss leader? Is that my most contributing aspect to my profitability, right? So you do have to take like a holistic approach when you're looking at where to trim the fat. It's not just, hey, is it not profitable on the front end, but actually look at the entire customer journey. Do you think that enough people are looking at their services and their products in such a way?
Probably not. I think that one of the hard things, especially for a smaller business, is figuring out the metrics to look at. We can look at lag metrics or things that tell us what has happened and try to figure out where to go from there. Well, it's sort of like looking out the back window and trying to figure out which direction to turn. It's not going to work. So lag measures are fine. So looking at a report, okay, this service, I generated this much revenue from, or this much profit from, which would be really more important. Well, that's okay. It tells you what happened. But what you really want to do is look at lead reports. If I do this, what will it turn into for me? And so, sometimes that means you're looking at your most, as you mentioned, your most profitable service is generated. Your business is coming in through something that in and of itself is not necessarily the way that you generate profit. Any more than paying for Google pay-per-click is, right? That's money going
Right.
out. So perhaps you look at that more as a marketing budget. But there's also things that we do that maybe we started the business doing, or services that we diversified into because it seemed like a good idea in some presentation we went to, and we've been doing it for a while. I got a couple people doing it, but you look at it and my goodness, it swallows up 30% of my time, but generates 5% of my profits, or even worse, it's losing money. Stop doing it. Stop doing it.
Right.
Reinvest your time into the best things that you do. Just like if you play the stock market and you got one thing that's just, man, it's losing. I'm losing money on this stock every day. I've been doing it losing for 2 years, and this one's making a lot of money. Why not move it over? Right? It makes sense, right? Reinvest your time even more carefully.
Move things around. You cut your losses, you run with the winners, and that's the name in investments. That's the name when it comes down to your business. And you can't romanticize what's worked in the past. And I think a lot of people, we as business owners, we do get emotionally attached, right? Maybe you came up with a marketing idea and you're like, oh, wow, this really worked. Well, guess what? Well, eventually it stops working, right? Or, carpet cleaning was your most profitable arm of your business, and now it no longer is. Now it's just a big time suck. It's a headache. Why do you keep it around? Like, you're no longer making the profits there. You've got other branches of your business that are generating that profit. Let it go. Buy back your mental health, right? Buy back your mental bandwidth, and then, allocate that, piss and vinegar, if you will, into new sectors of the market and trying to figure out, hey, how can I expand these profitable centers that are already exist in my business? And one of the things that you mentioned was, how can you delegate more effectively? And that's like one of those things that, a lot of business owners have issues with, and that has a direct correlation with profitability. So in your experience, like when it comes down to delegating and getting yourself out of that rat race, if you will, what are some of your thoughts on that?
Well, I think the reason why I mentioned this one is, as a business owner, sometimes we get enamored with our own abilities, or we're like, man, I'm responsible. I got to take charge. I got to do this. And you'll see people working, and the business owner is almost running in circles. He's running so hard, and other people are standing around, not standing around, but just for the sake of the picture, the mental image, they're going, what do we do next? Right? Stop it. You got to stop. And you've got this, you've tried to create this very powerful tool in your business, this team. And by delegating things away from yourself, which means training, it means accepting that somebody's going to do it different than you, and just, that's fine. Focus in on results. This is what I need done. Give them the training they need. Let them do it their way, and stop touching it. Because the other thing you might do is you come back in and go, oh, well, that looks nice. I would, the way I would do it is that, stop it. Leave them alone. Let them create something. They'll have greater buy-in. You'll get a better end product. And guess what? When you now take everybody's efforts and put them together and add it all up, it's a way larger sum than if you'd done it on your own. Even though there will be mistakes along the way, stop thinking about how much I can do, because that makes us feel good. Oh, I'm so busy. I got so much to do. I feel great. I feel like I'm so productive. Stop it. You'll be more productive if you help the team around you to grow. Teach them everything you know. Don't worry about them leaving. If you teach them nothing and they leave, who lost, right? If you teach them everything and they go somewhere else, that's fine. That's fine. Let them go. But you need to help everybody around you grow so that you can leverage your own activities, because you can't do this on your own.
Right, exactly. And you had actually mentioned in one of those, one of the things that you wish that more business owners knew, which was, how is it that you're limiting the growth of those people that are around you? And just with what you mentioned, just that alone, right? Just being totally overbearing or micromanagement, to some degree, and just not letting people kind of grow into their own and expand on their own ideas and come up with really amazing and creative ideas on how things can be done. That in and of itself is a way of limiting their growth within your own organization, correct?
Oh, yeah. And, one thing I like to do is I like to figure out, what is it that I desire to occur? What is the result that I want? And then when I talk to whomever I'm going to delegate this to, and I say, look, this is what we need to do. And here's what's not working. Do you have any ideas about how we could get there? Because I really want you to solve this for us. What's the best way you can think of to get there? Now, you might be surprised. They may come. Don't tell them what your thoughts are. I never share my own thoughts, because what that does is gets them going down the same path. I gain nothing. There's no opportunity. That opportunity for them to create something cool and different than you thought is lost. You still have your idea. If they come up with something and it's like, yeah, I'm certain, not only is it not what I came up with, but I'm certain it's not going to work. I'm not going to tell them that. I'm going to say, oh, that's an interesting idea. What do you think about if we did this? Ask questions. Don't give directions. Let them discover the idea. And guess what? They will own it. They will take, that becomes theirs. And now they're going to do it because they created it and they want to see it succeed. It's a completely different way than going, all right, here's what you're going to do. You're going to do this, you're going to do this, and you're going to do this, and I need it done by Friday. None of us are motivated by that. We'll do it because that's what our job is. There's no joy in that. Let people enjoy what they're doing. Give them an opportunity to create something and let them blow your mind.
Which, as a business owner, that is a good day. Whenever someone comes back and just totally blows your mind with an amazing idea, with something that was already potentially good, something that was already great, you gave it over and said, hey, what can you do with this concept? And they come back with something that's just utterly amazing, that has the potential to totally take your business in a new direction. And not enough business owners allow for those opportunities to happen in their business. So maybe you're missing out. Listen to some of the people around you. That's kind of what you got them for, right? You got your team around you so that you can take advantage of the exchange of ideas, which is, again, kind of going back to the whole event setting. In events, when you are there with high octave entrepreneurs that are already doing the thing and they're there thinking and they're there trying to learn, there's something miraculous that happens when you start exchanging ideas, not only from the instructors that are kind of giving it to you, but also just peer to peer. Right? It's like, hey, what are you doing? Hey, what do you got going on? And that magic happens there as well. You take some of those ideas back to home base, hand it off to your team and say, hey, look, let's come back with some ideas, and you revisit it. And I think that's where a lot of magic happens when it comes down to business growth, right?
Yeah. And, one of the things that I think here's a good barometer. If you say, or find yourself thinking, guys, what are you thinking? Why are you think? If you ever have that experience, you need to flip the question around, because the chances are you probably don't let them think. You're probably not helping them to build their thinking ability. Like, you're basing your decision off of some criteria. Have you shared that with them? Like, here are the operational principles that we work off of. Here's how we make money. This would be a good customer. This is not a good customer. Or this is, when we're faced with this situation, here's what I would do. If you give them the ability to think, as opposed to here's step 1, here's step 2, here's step 3, here's step 4, which, those are necessary too. But if you give them the opportunity to think, guess what? You'll develop that in them. But if you never give them that opportunity, you're constantly micromanaging everything, and then you turn around, guys, why don't you think? You should turn it around on yourself and go, why am I not helping them to have the criteria they need to think on this subject? And you might say, oh, you don't know my guys. All people are the same way. People want to have the opportunity to think for themselves.
How often do you see that being an issue with most businesses nowadays?
Well, it's pretty common. And I don't say that I'll tell you, I had to learn that the hard way. I always felt like my responsibility was to tell everybody exactly what to do, because I'm responsible for the outcome. And you are. But I think that what you have to also understand is you can't do it all yourself. You didn't get into if you started a business, you didn't start a business so that you could do every single thing that you do on your own. Some people are owner operators, and nothing wrong with that. But if you start bringing people in, you're expecting them to assist you, right? That's what the purpose of it was. But then you bring people in to assist you, and you don't teach them how to assist you. It's just like, you are telling them exactly what you want them to do and you walk away, or B, even worse, You stand there and do it, and don't let them do anything, and then bark orders, go get me something out of the truck or go do this. Nobody wants a job like that. I mean, they're never going to grow like that. You got to flip it around, put them in the driver's seat, and you give them the coaching they need to help them grow, and just you'd be amazed at what people can do.
So kind of switching gears here, but not really. If you had to go ahead and narrow down 3 keys to your success, whether that be in business or just as a human being in general, what in your opinion would be those top 3 things that really move the needle in your life in business?
Yeah, and you asked me that question, and I wrote some things down, and I'm now trying to remember exactly what they were. But I think the number one thing
I'll tee you up. I'll tee you up a little bit if you want.
Thank you, sir.
First was jealousy guarding your time. Secondly was only as effective as those people that are around you, and third, I don't hustle, I simplify, which I love. So that was your top 3.
Yeah, so jealously guard your time. I mean, that is key. We all have the same amount of time, and it's so easy to spend time. You make commitments so easily. It's hard to say no. There's an interesting quote from Tim Cook, who's the CEO of Apple, and one of the things he said is, when asked about what helped Apple to be so great, is he said, "We are the most focused company I've ever heard of, most focused company I know of." And we are able to be focused because we say no to great ideas every day. And I think that's a hugely powerful statement, because what do we say? Man, that's a great idea. And immediately, what's the words that follow it? Let's do it. Stop, right. Man. You gotta stop. If I say yes to something, I have to think first, do I want to invest my time in that? Because once I've invested, once I start committing to it, I can't get the time back. And unfortunately, we create all these commitments of our time, and ultimately we don't get to do the things we want to do, or we've made bad investments of our time, and we may have intended to accomplish a certain goal in our business or in our family or whatever, and it doesn't turn out. Be very careful. Everybody wants your time. You better be real careful about who and what you give it to.
And I like it. So that's basically number 1 would be guarding your time, right? Yep. Really being protective of your time. Harnessing the power of no. Saying no is actually a superpower. It takes you from a level of being a regular everyday Joe who's a people pleaser, who is a crowd pleaser, who wants to be liked by any and all, and puts you in this whole new rank of really valuing and having gotten this clarity about the direction that you want to take your life and or in your business, simply by using the power of no. No, I don't want to invest my time here. No, I can't do this. No, this is not what my business needs right now. And it's an extremely powerful word. No, it just takes a lot of practice, right? Because we're brought up to kind of be like nice people and be like, hey, yes, because I want to make you happy. I want to put a smile on your face. So I'm going to say yes. But you've only got X amount of mental bandwidth every day. You've only got so much that you can invest. And every time that you say yes, that's a little bit less time, money, and or energy that you have to invest in the things that you had committed to yourself. Right. So that's number 1. Number 2, what would you say that would be on your list of some of the keys that made you feel successful?
Yeah, growing people around you. And I love it. I mean, I love mentoring others. And, you might say, well, you do it because of what you can get out of them. And that's not really true. I mean, ultimately, if somebody's working with me, they're there because they need to make a living for their family. And if I can mentor them, if I can help them be better at what they're doing, they're going to take me places that I couldn't get on my own, but I feel like I can return the favor by helping them to get to places they couldn't have gotten on their own. Other people did it for me, and now it's my responsibility to do the same. And guess what? When you help other people to grow, they stay with you a long time because they recognize the value of their association with you. And the other thing is, even if they do leave, you know what? I celebrate that, man. If somebody comes here and they're with us for some years and they leave and they get an amazing job that they couldn't have gotten without being here first, I think there's a lot of value. For me, there's a lot of personal value in that. I don't like to see anybody go, for sure. But the last thing I want to see is somebody leave and go, this was the biggest waste of the last 3 years I've ever invested. That would be That's not good. I mean, you're going to gain benefit while they're with you if you grow them. Don't be afraid.
Which is a beautiful thing. And that's obviously one of those things where, as a business owner, you feel really good about. You see people coming in, and even if they do walk away, like ideally, that's kind of like what you want. You want them, regardless of what the outcome is in your business, you want them to be better 12 months after knowing you than when the first day that they showed up at your doorstep, right? It's like, it's kind of what you want.
Yeah.
And you're not really growing your business. I think this is a good barometer too for gauging your business. If you could look at the people that you've had on staff 12 months and they're in the exact same position, whether that's mentally, emotionally, or how they handle their day-to-day tasks, maybe that's a good, indicator about you and where your head's at and what you're prioritizing in your business, because we are in the people business. Like, our people is the thing that makes this whole thing, actually work, because we're dealing with the public, we're dealing with homeowners and property owners. So, that's like your most valuable asset, is the quality of your people. And then thirdly, what is the last point, which is probably one of my favorite, that you think made you feel, made you achieve success in business?
Yeah, I tell you, it's a word I absolutely hate because of the connotation behind it. Hustle. I don't hustle. It's not that I don't work. I do. I work very hard. But the thought behind hustle is all you need to do is work harder. And you work 70 hours a week if that's what you've got to do. That's a cultural thing in our society today, that's what people value. A lot of people value is hustle, hustle, hustle. The reality is for the most part, we probably need to slow down a little bit. I find that we get so many things. We get like this high, and I put myself in the same boat because I used to do this. I get this high off of having so much to do that there's no way I can possibly complete it all. And we feel great about it, feel so productive. And the reality is, in that state, you're not that productive. The human brain is really, really good when it focuses. It's amazing when it focuses on one thing, and it's amazing how well we can do with one thing or a couple of things. But when you're running from one thing to another and working around, you really never stop to think about what you're doing. And we miss so much. And this is not just philosophical. This is factual. If you were to stop what you're doing right now, just take any problem you're dealing with in your company. I don't care what it is. And you stopped and you brought your whole team in and said, we're not working today. We're going to sort out this issue. What are the chances that problem would go away permanently, or at least be handled pretty well? You'd find a workable solution. 100%, right? However, there's problems that we have in our business that have been nagging for months, years, same stupid problem. It's because you've got so much going, you can't stop and fix it. It's like, I can't stop to pump up the flat tire on my bike because I got to keep riding. I got to get to where I'm going. Stop it, right? Stop being so intent on, I've got to hustle, hustle, hustle. Just slow down and think deeply about what you're doing. And again, that's the same thing with profitability. A lot of times, and I'll see our techs do this, they are in such a rush to get to the next job, pick up the next one, pick up the next one. They're leaving all the profitable stuff behind, doing a less than stellar service because they're trying to get to the next one. Stop. That's not the way to do it. You're much better off. I'm not saying be lazy. I'm not saying be, lag around, right? But be thoughtful about what you're doing. And if you have so much going on, if you're hustling all the time so much that you can't work, you just kind of skim across the top and never really get into, you're never going to really succeed that way. You're just going to work super hard. And you know what? If you work 2 full-time jobs, guess what? You're going to make twice as much money. But it doesn't mean that's the right way to do it. Stop and think about it and be very thoughtful about, I always am very focused on how much money. I take my year and I look, well, how much money am I making per hour of investment? So each year I try to find a way to work a little less and increase my income. That's my goal every year personally from a business standpoint. Work a little less, make a little more. And what I'm doing then is increasing my value hourly, or the time that I'm investing.
Right. And that's a beautiful thing. And this just goes to show, like, again, the meaning behind words, right? So Jeremy hates the word hustle. I love the word hustle. He likes the word simplify. I use the word hack. What we're saying is the exact same thing. It's just maybe just different, meaning behind what it is that we're talking about. In order for you to get really good at something, you have to hustle at that thing. Like, you're not going to get an amazing, 3-point shot by working less at it until you've mastered it. So you're hustling on that 3-point line until you get it. And then what you're doing is now what do? You start simplifying, you start hacking it. How am I walking up to the line? Did I take an extra step? Am I overshooting? And then you start carving away at things. And that's this is what, for me, business gets really exciting, because what we're all doing to some degree is we've got this, really rough rock, if you will, right? This piece of rough marble. And we're like, okay, we know that there's something in here. We just got to chip away at it. And when it comes down to looking at your business and looking at your life, if you've got all of these different things that are pulling you in different directions, it's impossible for you to ever get to one thing that you're trying to look at it objectively and then simplify it, or what I call hack it. Like, how can we make this faster, more effective, more profitable, right? So again, regardless of how your brain ticks outside, everybody that's watching and listening, just whatever it is, just keep in mind what the principles are, right? Call it what you will. Call it simplification, call it hacking. Just, it's about having that one laser focus that you're looking at one subject at a time and saying, what am I doing extra here that I should not be doing? And then how can I make this better, faster, more effective, more profitable, more pleasant, more enjoyable to really take action on? So switching gears here, Jeremy, I want to go ahead and talk a little bit more about and take a deeper dive into the Next Level event. Let's talk about some of the people that you're going to have at Next Level. But before we do that, I just want to take a quick moment and thank our sponsors. Hey, Dominators, real quick, let me ask you a question. How would you like to increase productivity? How would you like faster claims resolution? And more importantly, how would you like to reduce litigation? Well, this is exactly what Impartial allows you to do. Impartial creates timely, accurate estimates for faster and fair claim settlement. Building upon Matterport's technology, the Impartial Scope tool extracts the relevant data embedded with pre-mitigation and post-mitigation scans, and subsequently renders an Xactimate or assemblability estimate that can be approved by a carrier without any hesitation. The magic here is that the software helps contractors generate mitigation and repair estimates for more rapid approval from insurance carriers while removing the burdensome administrative process. Each Impartial estimate is produced with objective accuracy using immersive 3D imagery and precise physical and geospatial measurements. Impartial, in my opinion, is one of those tools that simply can go ahead and change your business. And with so many features such as Impartial tags, timestamp matter tags, the ability to upload JPEG, PNG, ESX, and so much more. Impartial is that software that could genuinely change your business. Make sure that you check them out in the video description below or in the show notes and see for yourself. Hey, Dominators, real quick, let me ask you a question. Have policyholders struggled to come up with your money because it's held with the mortgage company? Or does the percentage of uncollected debt that you collected in 2021 exceed over 2.5%? Or even better, let me ask you this. Do you dread negotiating with your policyholder when it comes time to collect your final payment and deductible? So look, if you answered yes to any of these questions, then you need to check out Surety. You see, Surety is a third-party fund control company. And what they do is they ensure that you get paid faster and, more importantly, completely for the hard work that your crews are doing. Surety relieves not only the policyholder, but you of tremendous administrative burden while ensuring that the claims process, and more importantly, the proceeds flow via ACH to the rightful owner, you, the restorer. And here's the best part. For less than the average credit card fee, Surety delivers on numerous fronts. So here's what I want you to do. If you want to learn more about how Surety can help you, I want you to head on over to www.surety.com/dominate and request a free demo today. Now listen, Restoration Domination listeners, just like you, are going to receive a really cool offer. And here it is. You're going to receive an exclusive offer, which includes free processing for the first insurance claims check and 3 months of free access within their network. Again, that's Surety, surety.com/dominate. Photo documentation is possibly one of the most important aspects of what it is that we do in the restoration business. Not only so that the client knows exactly what's going on, but also so that you can prove your work to insurance companies. One of the best ways that I found to go ahead and document our projects is by using Company Cam. Company Cam is an amazing app. It has so many features, everything from time-stamped and GPS located photos, individual project files, unlimited photo storage, in-app communication with your crew, a live stream of all of your projects as the photos are coming in, as if it was an Instagram feed. So from a managerial standpoint, Company Cam can help you there as well. But more importantly, it gives you the ability to protect your organization while documenting and keeping everything nice and neat. So we've got a really special offer for you. If you go to companycam.com/dominate, not only will you get your 14-day free trial, but you're also going to get the first 2 months 50% off. So again, head on over to companycam.com/dominate, get the app, and I'm sure you're going to love it. All right. So we are back. We're going to be diving a little bit deeper into the next level event. Like, let's talk about like what we can expect. I'm sure that there's tons of people that are listening to the show, watching the show. They're excited about being out at the event live here very, very shortly. But for those that have heard about it, maybe this is the first time, like give us, if they were a fly on the wall, what is the experience like?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the first thing I'll say is if you've ever been to a next level, you recognize that every one of them is very different. But the common thread is that I focus specifically on the profitability of the business. If there's not a direct connection between what we're going to discuss and making your business more profitable, it's not going to be on the program. So that's one of the criteria. But part of it that is yes, we're going to share with you some of the things that you're going to learn about how to do the jobs that you're doing. So how to do the right job, how to get paid for it, absolutely critical. It's one of those functions. We know we do that already. You know what? If you focus on that one principle, I assure you, I don't care who you are. If you give me 5 minutes with you in your business, I'll point to you several situations where either you're not doing exactly the right job or you could improve on the way you're getting paid for it. You can improve the likelihood you're going to get paid for it. It's just the way I could do the same thing in my own business. Anytime we go back in and refocus with that thought pattern, we can make improvement. Now, I think that's something that we're all aware of. But what we're going to do is then we're going to talk about ways that you can do it, some specific things. But then I also have developed this system, which really has 3 parts to it. So we're looking at there's two functions in business operations. One is consistency, and the other is change. So we want to maintain consistency. I think of like a ratchet. You turn it and you can't turn it back, right? So you're constantly turning it just a little bit, but you can't twist it backwards, right? So in your business, that's what you want to do. You want to ratchet up a little bit and then maintain that through consistency. Change lifts you up. Consistency keeps you there. So consistency is managed through SOPs and measurables. And those things tell you what to do and how much of it needs to be done just to maintain where we need to be. But then you also deal with situations in your business or areas of your business that need a boost. They need to be improved. They're sagging, or it's an area of focus where this is where we're going to get our growth from. So how do you do that? So unfortunately, a lot of times what we do is go, well, let's take on a new line of business. That's usually not the best way to do it. So what I'm going to help you to do is, first of all, we're going to start with operational principles. That's the first tool. Why are you in business? And I'm not talking about mission, values, all that stuff. Those are fine. But this is more about how do we make money? You mentioned something about, well, we may offer this loss leader because that's how we get business. Well, that should be an operational principle, because someone else might look at it and go, well, why are we doing this? Well, here's the operational principle. We generate our business by providing this loss leader service. Oh, okay, now I understand, right? But see, you're using you're using these operational principles to run your business. But if you wrote them down and really put some thought into it and then taught those to the rest of your staff, now they all know how to make those decisions. They know how to evaluate a circumstance. Because here's the thing, SOPs are great for the standard, situation, but we deal with anomalies and exceptions continuously. So now you got people calling you up, hey, what do I do? Eliminate some of that by teaching them how to think through those things. What are these operational principles that we work off of? And one of the ones that we're going to discuss, these operational principles I already mentioned, is do the right job and get paid for it. That's an operational principle for us. So if somebody's trying to figure out, well, I don't know if we should do this, is it the right thing to do? Yeah, but I don't know if we'll get paid for it. First, if it's the right thing to do, do it. We'll now, second, figure out how to get paid for it. But we're going to do the right job to begin with, whatever that takes. And so it helps people to evaluate that type of circumstance and know what to do. That's just one thing. Doesn't mean that one principle is overarching and the most important principle in every situation, but it's one of them. Another principle that we will discuss, and these are really the only two that we're going to discuss in Next Level, because every business operates differently. But I tried to pick two principles that everybody should work off of. The other is simplify. And I mentioned that a few times already. You understand what I'm talking about when I talk about simplify. We're going to look at, and you can do this even if you don't come to Next Level. You want to talk about the power of simplification. The power of simplification is lived out in the NASA's effort to get to the moon. We all know the story, right? But really dig into that and see what Kennedy's speech got everybody doing. It took all this, mixed effort that NASA was involved into and focused the resources of the entire country into one thing. And you look at that and it's like, this goal that was set is impossible. Go to the moon. We don't even have rockets. How are we going to get to the moon? We don't even have computers, for crying out loud. What are you talking about? And guess what? They had a never say die approach and this massive amount of focus. And in 1969, put men on the moon. That helps us to see that the next step, which is, first of all, they had this real laser focus, but they were able to do it through goals. We misuse goals all the time. We create goals that don't focus effort. They just, oh, you know what? We want something to get better. We'll just put a goal on it. What I am trying to focus you in, and we will focus you in on, is essential goals. You don't give people 10 goals. You give them 1 or 2 or 3, and goals have an end life, a shelf life. They're going to come to an end. The idea behind a goal is that you go to an area of focus and you say, this is where we're here. It needs to be here. And we focus our effort on these. Well, you better be real careful at how you select those. Is this goal that you're setting essential to the operation of your business? Is it so absolutely important that if we don't do it, we're not going to be able to achieve the more important targets? If so, then there probably is a goal needed there. But when you create 10 different goals, there is no goal. We have not focused effort. Kennedy focused the entire nation with one goal: get a man to the moon before the end of the decade. But do our goals create enough focus and massive amount of energy into one thing, the tip of the spear, so to speak, so that we do create massive change? Or is it spreading our efforts because we got goals here, 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 and here, and nobody, everybody's got 10 goals and nobody meets them? I mean, we've lost the harness. We have failed to harness the power of goals. And then the third piece, so we've got operational principles, essential goals, and what that means and how to set those. And we got worksheets to help walk you through what that means, what each of those are, and how to create those so that they fit what you want to accomplish. But a goal is, again, absolutely useless if we don't know what to do about it. You can't just say, work harder. That isn't the answer. You got to help people to know what activities or behavior to change. And so what I create is I call profitable activities. I introduced these at the last Next Level event. But the concept of Next Level is that it's a key opportunity within our processes to make a difference, to add profit to the company, or we could go with profitable from the aspect of this will be very valuable to our company if we act on these things. Now, what we've done on both ends here is operational principles give people a way to think, and profitable activities to give people understanding behind, oh, this is a key part of what we do. We don't miss profitable activities. This is a critical component. And so we have a worksheet on how you create that. What what do I need to do to train people to accomplish this? How do I make sure that how do I score this to make sure that it actually happens? And by bringing those three elements in and helping you to clearly understand those, we're going to not only, it's like not handing somebody a fish, but teaching them how to fish, right, in their business. Then once we go through those concepts, we're going to go in and backfill and create profitable activities that you can put directly into your business. And we finish with creating an implementation plan at the very end. You're going to have time. It's not just me talking. You're going to have time with your team set aside as soon as we discuss these things to now take it and customize it for your business, so that when you go back, you got a 40-page workbook full of things that you can work on and an implementation that helps you to see in what order you need to do those. Now, I don't think you're going to get that anywhere else. In fact, I know you're not. I've been to a lot of programs, and it's designed around what I do to help my business get to the next level.
Right. And that's the beauty, right? Just being able to take in information, and then from that information, again, because you can get really excited about a piece of information, be like, oh yeah, let's go ahead and do that. But then of course you get back to the office, you don't really know how it's going to fit into your business. What's your next step? Like, how do you implement? Who's going to spearhead this thing? There's a lot of questions that, sometimes are just left out there in the ether. And because when the idea came to you, you were presented with the idea, you didn't have enough time to water it, right? To take care of it and say, is this really something that is a profitable activity for my business, right? Because again, just because it's a profitable activity in your business doesn't mean that it's a profitable activity in my business, right? Like every business is different. Every business owner is different. They have different goals, and we all understand that. So really work through this, but then to actually walk away at the end of the day with an implementation plan that you and your team were able to discuss. And now you go back with this 40-page booklet and you're like, hey, look, okay, step by step, this has already been organized. This has already been thought through. All we got to do is just go ahead and start implementing. Now, this is when you take a goal and with a plan, and that's when you really get off the block strong. You start seeing progress, whether that's in your business or in your personal life, right? Because if a dream and a goal and all of that stuff, like, that's all. If you keep it in your head and you don't have something to a step-by-step guide, then it just goes nowhere. It just stays on people's desks, right? It's like mission statements. People talk a lot about mission statements. Yeah, but then it's just totally wasted. And, it's just something nice to say, yeah, we've got goals. Well, I mean, when was the last time you reached your goal, right? Like, that's a rough question for some business owners to answer. It's like, oh man, I haven't really
I'll tell you
reached my
another
goals in a long
question.
time.
Yeah, I'll tell you another question. You want to find out if your goals are working? Walk up to one of your employees and ask them what their goal is and where they're at in the process. And if they go, do what? You got bad goals. Yeah, goals should be this massively powerful tool in your arsenal, but we waste it so often because we don't really understand. We didn't put enough thought into it, and we don't really understand how to make goals work. But listen, this is one thing I've found is true. If something is important enough for me to say, yeah, this is a goal for us, then it's important enough for me to put the time into making sure that I create the goal and implement it fully into my team so that they can act on it versus going, okay, here's our goal, guys. Now let's get out there and get it done. I mean, that's a waste. I can promise you your goal will never be achieved because it was half baked to begin with.
Exactly. So if someone who's been kind of on the fence, or they're just finding out about the next level event and they want to go ahead and participate, they want to be in a room filled with high octave entrepreneurs talking about their business, talking about how to expand and get to that next level and how to dominate their local market, where do they go to get their tickets?
Yeah, so just go to our website, reetsdrawingacademy.com, and you can do /next level if you like, but it's going to be right on our homepage. You'll see in a big bright green bar, next level event. Click there and you can purchase. And I tell you what, Rico, what we're going to do for your people, they'll just need to contact us. But what we'll do is if you bring 2 people to the event. We will also give you a free IICRC WRT online class to go with it. That's a $500 value, which is great because you are doing a lot of great stuff for your group. We want to be able to support them. We want to see people take their business to the next level, and we want to do what we can to help them.
No pun intended. Take your business to the next level. That's amazing. So there you have it, Restoration Dominators. In the video description below, as well as in the show notes, if you're just solely listening to the podcast via audio, go ahead and expand the show notes. We're going to leave a link to where you can learn more if you need to learn more about the next level, which frankly, between you, me, and the lamppost, I don't think there's anything more you need to learn other than pulling out your credit card and making a payment. Be there at the event. I think it's going to be really awesome. Go ahead and click that link. And this seems like, for most business owners, this is like the missing element, right? It's all about the information. It's all about the education. It's about expanding on ideas and then actually having a plan to execute on those ideas. And Jeremy, I wanted to go ahead and thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to be with us here today and help us all dominate. So thank you again so much for being on the show. And Restoration Nation, remember, if you have any comments on the show, if you've got any questions, any comments, or just an experience something that you've been able to pull out from the show that's helped your business, I invite you to go ahead and take advantage of our hotline, which is 678-TALK-TO-US. So that's 678, the word talk, the number 2, the word us, and drop us a line. Let us know who you are, where you're from, and what your experience, comment, or thought is. And we will go ahead and plug you in on the next podcast. And as always, Restoration Nation, remember, hustle, hack, and dominate.
You've been listening to Restoration Domination, your #1 resource for tips, tricks, and hacks to help your business grow. Subscribe to our channel and follow us for more Restoration Domination. And follow our host at Rico Garcia Jr. on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and LinkedIn. Till next time, this is Restoration Domination. Hustle, hack, dominate.